Excuse me, I decided I'm going to tear this apart. So if you guys want to kind of just sit by and watch me destroy this thing, feel free. I really don't want to give it to somebody knowing that it's not just right, and then have something happen because, you know, they say, oh, you never told me, you know, that type of thing. Because of that, I think I'm just going to dismantle it, and I'm sure there's some parts here I could use. The blade on this, though, however, will not fit the blade on my other one. So come on, what did I do? Put it up behind there? I didn't do that good of a job, did I? Maybe I did. No. Dude, I must have been in a good mood that day. What the hell got into me to do that? I guess I wanted to make it right. There we go. So meanwhile, today is still Wednesday. It's later in the day. That's a part that's going to be a keeper. These screws and that, I'll throw them out. And today's still Wednesday, and it is 1 o'clock, April 10th, 2019, 1300 hours. And come on, there we go. Another poor design. I mean, it does the job, but it's just time consuming. Ah, let me get that. This I'll keep because it's a nut with a wing nut. A bolt rather with a wing nut. So that's a keeper. And again, these things. Oh, come on. Why are you going to give me a hard time? Come on. There you go. These don't fit the new one over here that you're sitting on, so I'm kind of stuck with a couple of these. I'll probably end up throwing them out, but for now I'm just hanging it here. This stuff here will be worth keeping, and plus there's some good size wing knobs. Now let's hold that on there. Huh. Okay. I don't know if you can see these or not, but these are the wheels that I put on, the guide wheels to keep the blade from going cuckoo. And then there's another one down underneath that stops it from going back with a piece of Teflon back there. So I mean, it was as close as I can get to what they had down here. I mean, it works, but you know, it's just, I don't need it. They're both the same speed, so it's not like one can do you know, metals and steels and the other one does wood. They're both doing the same thing. And I thought, you know what, I will just strip it down. I don't need it. And I really don't want to put it out there for somebody to take and get hurt on it. You gotta worry about everything nowadays. years ago, I think I told you, my grandfather was a painter, and he had a painting contract company. And back then, a painter was a painter, and I've told you that before, I'm sure. You know, we didn't have people mixing colors for us. We had to mix our own colors. We had to break up our own lead, you know, add our own oils. And we basically had to do everything ourselves. You know, and we had to figure out, you know, the house, how dry it is. What's it going to need for you know, oils, what kind of dryers, how much dryers rather, you know, do we need to thin it, thicken, you know, I mean, there's really a lot involved back then. You know, it's not like today. Well, I'm a painter. Yeah, I go to the store, I buy a gallon of paint, the paint says, oh, it should fit 10 square feet. Oh, okay, boom, done, you know. Now, painting has made it a lot easier for the homeowner, which is good, so now that they don't have to go through all that. But meanwhile, as I was saying, we had all kinds of ladders. And he used to lock them up at night with a chain and cover them, because you don't want them to get wet. They were wood ladders back then. They did have some magnesium ladders that first came out, which were nice. And aluminum, but he didn't trust the aluminum too much. So everything mostly was wood. And you always want to leave slack on the line when you let the extension out. You don't want to pull the line tight and tie it. You always want to have some slack there, because when it rains, the rope that you use to lower and lift and lower the ladder, the extension, if it gets wet, it would shrink as it dries, and it would pull the wooden runners out. So you always left a little slack. You tie it, but you always left slack. And then you'd naturally cover the ladders. And he would put chains through them. Now, most part is you don't want somebody to steal them, because, you know, they were expensive. And even back then, you had to worry about that stuff. But one day, he had left one out that wasn't chained. The chain didn't go through it, so it was kind of like it wasn't chained, bottom line. And what had happened was, one of the homeowners decided they needed to use a ladder, so they're going to check the ladders so they can see, you know, they can check, they wanted to, I forgot what it was, the gutter. Oh no, they wanted to get on the roof because they wanted to put a rotor on their antenna. That's what it was. So they decided they're going to pull out one of these ladders. Well, they found out that they were all locked. And in doing so, though, they found out that there was one of them that wasn't locked, because the chain missed it when he dropped the chain through. So they took that ladder out of the mix. And apparently they did whatever it is they were trying to accomplish with the rotor. Then they put it back. Now, at that point, nothing happened, so we didn't have to worry about it. However, when they put it back, they naturally didn't put it back in the way that it was. So my grandfather noticed that the ladder has been tampered with. And one is, you don't use somebody's equipment unless they tell you you can use it. You know, regardless, you never do that. You know, if it was a guy out here taking down my trees and he left his bucket, he didn't leave it there for me to use while he's gone. You know, so, you know, I mean, that's the way it is. And some people don't look at things that way. They just see what harm is there in it. So anyway, my grandfather's getting pissed, and I can understand it to a point, but back then I didn't care. You know, I didn't care. It's not that I didn't care. I didn't realize it. I said, Pops, calm down. What you getting all upset about? He shouldn't be using this ladder without my permission, blah, 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 blah. And he gets into it. And the more he's getting into it, the more I'm starting to understand. If that ladder had collapsed on him or broke, he could have very easily tried to anyway sue my grandfather, which would have ended up costing money and time. You know, now, not that he's going to have a defective ladder on the job, but sometimes it does happen. You know, sometimes a ladder will break on the job, and he'll say, okay, this ladder is no good. He puts a mark on it, and we all know to stay away from that ladder. And the ladder's not even in the group with the other ones, so it does happen. But meanwhile, I started to understand more about the ladder. Then it gets to a point to where he got in an argument with the owner of the house. And my grandfather didn't take any shit. He's from the old school. He grew up, I found, my grandfather never talked about his childhood. And now that I'm on Ancestry, I'm finding out things more and more that I wish I had known back then, to be honest with you. He was actually a white slave. Now, I don't know how that came about, but he was living with his family and working with his family from childhood. So I really don't know the story because he never talked about it. All I do know is, as he got older, he made something out of himself and became a successful business person and married my grandmother, and everything was fine. So I give him credit, but I feel bad that I didn't know his history like that, nor would he open up about it. So, you know, it's something, I guess he was ashamed of it, but, you know, you can't be ashamed of your history. It's your history, you know? You don't want to be ashamed of it, and the same token, we don't want to live it and start blaming everybody for it either, because it's over with. You know, what it is, you know, so get over it, that type of thing. So anyway, he took no shit. Justifiably so. And there we go. And then after he told me about, you know, the suits and then all that can happen. I understood it. Well, not long after that, believe it or not, another painter came into a place that we all used to buy our paint from, and we'd hang out there in the morning to get a cup of coffee. It was called Charlie Brown's. That was the name of the paint store. And it was privately owned by Charlie Brown, his brother Ed, and then there was Dominic. And we're in there one day and we're bullshitting. And another painter came in and said, boy, I'll tell you, am I going through all kinds of shit? And he said, oh, what's going on? He says, I had a customer that wanted to borrow one of my ladders. Now, not the same customer, had nothing to do with that customer. But he had this customer that wanted to borrow one of his ladders. A 24-foot extension ladder. Because he wanted to clean the gutters on the garage. He said, I told him we'd do it. You know, I wasn't going to charge him for it because we got to paint it anyway, so we always clean the gutters. But he was insisting that he wanted to do it. So that's where we ended up. So he said, so we let him borrow the ladder. So the next day he came back to work the ladder's laying down on the ground next to the garage. And he said, well, that's no place for it to be. I didn't tell him to lay it on the ground like that. You know, it's a ladder. You don't want to do like shit. And nobody's around. Well, what had happened was the guy, when he was cleaning the gutter, didn't prop the ladder properly. The ladder fell backwards. He fell off it, knocked himself on the head, and gave himself a concussion, and he's in the hospital. Now, for all in all, he's going to be okay. But when he got out of the hospital, he starts to sue this guy, just like my grandfather said. Don't let him borrow anything, because if something happens, they're going to say, no, we'll never, no. But as soon as it happens, they're going to be there. And he started suing this other painter for faulty equipment. Now, after all said and done, he didn't get anything out of it. But it cost the painter aggravation, time. You know, he had to get an attorney. You know, had to go to court. And that's when they found out that he had propped the ladder wrong. And that's what actually saved the painter. You know, because he hadn't propped the ladder properly. See, if you prop it too far, you got to worry about it bending and possibly breaking, or the bottom sliding out from underneath you as you go up. If you don't prop it out far enough, you got to worry about falling backwards, like you see in the movies. When you're on top of the ladder, it falls backwards on you. So there's a pretty good amount of space that you have, you know, so it doesn't have to be critical, but it does have to be critical. I mean, you know, and that's what was happening. So when he said that he put the ladder up, and then the other guy, is that what I was looking for? Son of a gun, it was. The attorney says, oh, how'd you put it up? He goes, oh, he says, I can show you. My wife was taking pictures, you know, snapshots. Because, you know, he's climbing up to clean the gutters, you know, so he wanted to have pictures, you know. Now we're talking late 60s, mid 60s. But she wanted to have a few snapshots of this, so she's taking pictures. So they show the pictures, and this ladder is almost straight up. And fortunately for him, the guy that let him borrow the ladder, when he started to fall backwards, the wife got panicky and was hitting the button on it was like a Minolta or something, and took a couple of shots of him falling backwards. But meanwhile, it showed that this ladder was definitely straight. And when he was going up, he was back here on the ladder instead of, you know, up like this. It's like when you get on a horse. You stay close to the horse when you get on a horse. You don't stay way back, you know, and swing out around. You stay close and you lift up as close to the side as possible. So, ask me how I know about horses. Go ahead. So anyway, after that, I realized, I don't know how I got on that story, but I realized after that you can't trust anybody. They'll sue the shit out of you if they get a chance. And that's why my grandfather got pissed about that ladder. And that's what I was talking about with this. You know, you give it to somebody, you tell them, listen, there's something wrong with it. Next thing you know, they get hurt. And oh, you never told me that. Yeah. That's like when I had my store. Before I did any work on a vehicle, I went around it with a checklist, and I had a picture of the vehicle, black and white. I'd walk around it with the owner, and we point anything out that looked off, anything, because I don't want to get hit with it later. And inside and out. And this way I always had proof that whatever was there was there. I keep hearing noise like my wife's around someplace. Oh, she is. She's out back. Okay. So anyway, that actually happened. A guy came in with a Land Rover one day, wanted a cell phone put in, installed. We used to install them. And I said, okay. So we walk around the whole thing. We took pictures and we talked and we were doing our thing and bullshit and such. And we're all done. He comes and we walk around the vehicle again to make sure everything is okay. He leaves, and about 4 hours later he comes back. He said, "There's a ding in my door." I said, "There's a ding in your door?" He goes, "Yeah, in the driver's door." I go, "Oh, okay." He goes, "Well, it must have happened here." Yeah, right. I said, "Don't even think about it." I said, "First of all, let's see it." Well, as soon as you go out there, you see the ding. So it wasn't something we missed. What it looked like was that, and you can, it looked like it was hit with a BB gun because it had a dimple in it, like it got hit with a BB gun. And it was about the size of a BB. And it was bing, right inside the door. Right? No paint missing, but there it was. So I said, "Well, wait a minute." I said, "First of all, we looked around, that wasn't there. So don't even think about it." He gets a little irate, but you get irate back. And if they're wrong, they're going to shut up quickly. You know, because they're not looking for an argument. They're just looking to take care of the problem. So I found that he lived in West Haven. And that's where my store was. And I know a few people in West Haven, in the department and things. So I called up Dave, one of the guys in the department. And I said, "Hey, you get any reports?" Now, I didn't do it when he was there. He had already left. And he already knows that I'm not going to pay for this. So he's going to be in for an argument or a fight, meaning legally. Because I have whacked a few customers. He said, "What?" I said, "Well, here's the story." He goes, "I know exactly what you're talking about. White Land Rover." Yeah. He goes, "He was just talking about how he had a phone put in." Well, yeah, it was here. He goes, "Yeah." He said, "We were at his house a few hours ago. There was one of the neighbor's kids was running around with a pellet gun. Pellet gun. It wasn't a BB gun, it was a pellet gun. Hit his door. But because he's fooling around with the neighbor's wife, he didn't want to report to the husband, thinking it would screw up his relationship with the wife." I said, "Well, that sounds like a good family now, doesn't it?" "Yeah," he said, "what are you going to do?" And that was the whole story behind it. So now he's coming to me thinking he's going to get it fixed through me. And it's not going to happen. So he came back And he said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm not going to do anything. I said, what are you going to do? I said, I recommend you go talk to your neighbor's wife. His jaw dropped. Because now he knows that I know something. And, well, I'll never do business here again. I said, well, it's fine with me because I don't need your type here, so don't worry about it. You're not going to be missed. But it happens. Especially when you're in business, all the time. All the time. Now, I'd like to save this assembly if I can get it out of there. Let's see. What size can it be? I feel we're right, but I'm starting to feel clammy, if you know what I mean. Meaning that I'm not just right. Try to pick the right one. Wow. I couldn't even see it because it was filthy. Oh, that only takes that one off. I want to take this whole assembly off. Let's put that back in. I have so many appointments coming up this week. I told the wife, I said, babe, I says, I'm lost with appointments. I said, they're all in my phone. I said, but, you know, and they're set for time, but until the phone goes off, I'm not going to know. When they are, so I don't want to make appointments on top of appointments. So she took my phone and she started writing them down into a list. Now I know I got 2 tomorrow. Why did that go in the street? Come on. Hey Bear, how you doing, buddy? I know why it's not going straight. Yes. Wait a minute, buddy. Let me give you one. Hold on. There you go. Okay. Same thing. I'm starting to get to a point now where I want to go in and lay down. I'm starting to sweat and get clammy. Since when I can't put in an Allen screw? And then when he verbally said the things he said, and we're not repeating what he said because they're just like, just want to forget that moment. I can never be as present again. That's all I can say. What did that even mean? I didn't even understand what he was saying. Oh, it's gross. I think I'm just going to go in. Take some meds. My sciatica is driving me nuts today. feel bad for my wife putting up with all this. Because not only is she taking care of all the paperwork and the medicals and the stuff like that, and Social Security, you know, she's also doing a lot with the boys as far as taking care of them. That certain things that I usually help with. And she's worried about me too, naturally. I'm glad that she's feeling better. Okay, I want to get that knob off of there, and I want to get these stands off of here. So we're at one breakdown point. One stage of the breakdown. We still have another stage to go for. Now, why can't I get that out of there? Ah, there's why. Okay, so the only thing that I need now on this is I want this upper wheel. And this knob and shaft. Let me put these away before I spill them. Alright, I got a cup of coffee on. Here it is. Now here's one of those things, or did I buy one? Wait a minute. I thought I bought one. This over here. Hold on, guys. What I thought I bought was a snap ring tool. I never had one since I lived here, and they always came in handy. And I was just going to say, I wish I had a snap ring tool. And then when I said that, I was just thinking, I thought I bought one up at the Tractor Supply. One of those cheapies, because I says I'm not going to need anything any good. You know, so one of them would be perfect. Shit. I'd love to know how aware Aviva gets her word on the street. That's electrical. That's empty. I got an empty drawer. What's this one? Let me see. No, that's not it. Now this is crazy. Because I almost positive I bought a snap ring tool, and I even put in the one that I would use most. I thought, I know, here we go. There we go. I knew I had one. Oh, and this this isn't a snap, it's a C or an E clam. Okay, good. I know I wasn't going nuts though. Snap into it. And all the accessories. And all the accessories. Another wheel. Well, I guess this Black & Decker is gonna go to bed soon. I'm not gonna deal with it. I like the Milwaukee. As a, if you want to call it a quality piece. And I like the Ryobis. The Ryobis I think are good. They're a little slow. This screw is stripped. They're a little slow as far as their gear ratio. But for the most part, they do what you got to do. That's why it was so tight, had a lot of tension on it. This whole thing was pop. Yeah. Now all these screws are good except for one. And that's this one. Because the head is stripped. Okay, so we got that off. That's nice to have. Little loaded spring assembly. I mean, a lot of guys like the Black & Deckers or the DeWalt, and I guess, I mean, they're okay. I just don't have any good luck with them, and if I don't have luck with them, I'm not going to continue to deal with them. And I've never had bad luck with the Milwaukee or the Ryobi. I've had bad luck with Ridge, or Ridget, whatever you want to call it. But, well, actually, I've had quite a bit of bad luck with them. Once with one of their drills, the battery was bad. Long story. I just brought the whole system back because the rep kept telling me that it must be the battery or the charger, and I said, well, exactly, and I just bought it last week because you told me it was good and it had a lifetime warranty, so give me a new battery or a new charger. Well, you got to call up and send in for it. It's only a week old. What are you talking about? I'm talking to him in Home Depot at this point, you know, because he used to be in there every Monday. And so we're going back and forth. I'm talking to this idiot. You know what? Screw it. I'll bring the whole thing back. And I did, and I bought the Milwaukee. Cost more money, but better. Now also, I bought a couple years ago when I was building this place, I bought a the Saber, the Sawzall. Rigid. It will not hold the blade. You start to cut, even if you're not trying to force it, the blade keeps popping out. The blade will not lock into it, regardless. And I've been through all different blades with that, so it's not that. So I said, you know what? I am done. So now I do have one of their small routers, and that works great. I'm talking about the Rigid. The little router, the little handheld router I got, I like it. I use it. Actually, I use that quite a bit. I'm actually going to be using it this week. I have a use for this base. That's why I'm going to say that I wasn't going to, but seeing that it's on bolts and it's cast, I do have a use for it. The rest of it's going to be forget about. I think I want to go inside and lie down with the wife for a while. Okay, so we got the motor. We got the bottom table, which I'm not done taking it apart, but that's going to wait. I'm not going to do it now. Hey Tuck, we got that done. Where's the other half? Oh, the other half was plastic, so I ain't gonna worry about the other half. I don't even know what I do with it. Oh, it's over there. Okay. So that's where we're at. So what do I have for parts? I've got a motor. I do. And I wonder if I put a variable on that, if it will take it. See, not all motors will use a variable. They'll heat up on you. Got some knobs, which I'm always using these things for something. This I got to take it apart and finish stripping some of it, because I'm not going to need or use all of this. This I'm going to take apart. This I probably won't use. This I will. These metal bars here I will. These hold downs I will. The table, I don't think so. I mean, I think it's plastic anyway. Maybe not. If it's plastic, I'm not going to keep it. If it's metal, I may keep. Yeah, it is metal. It's aluminum. All right, well, I may keep that then too. All right, so we're pretty well stripping that down. And how do I know about horses? Oh, we got a light too. I used to work at a stable. Oh yeah, when I was younger, 16, 17. Wasn't full time. I was dating a girl. Actually, I was driving, so it was probably closer to 18 or 19. I mean, I started driving at 13, but other than that, I was dating this girl that was the same height as I, actually, all right, 6'3", and she used to be a go-go girl, a dancer at one of the discos, for those of you who remember discos and go-go girls. And she used to like to ride the horse. Anyway, there was the stables in Guilford, and so we'd go up to the stables and start riding. The next thing you know, I got friendly with the owners, and the next thing you know, I'm working there part-time, and that's how I got involved with horses. I became a trail guide, because we used to have these overnight rides. You go out for the night, you camp out, they supply the tents and everything, and you just enjoy. And I used to go out because one is I want to make sure that the horses are being cared for, and that they don't overwork them, they don't overrun them, and they make sure they get watered, they get brushed down, they get wiped down, they get covered, they get fed. So I wanted to make sure that the animals were being taken care of, and then we get back, and I'd go up in the hay loft, fall asleep in a bale of hay, and that's it. 2 or 3 days a week. So, and that was about it. Anyway, so I'm going in, guys. I ate up a lot of your time already. A lot of bull. Catch you later.